Hello viewers, welcome to another episode of Inspirational Chat, a platform where we interact with young leaders who have made an impact in the life of others to tell us how they began their journey, how far it has been with them, and how far they want to go. Today, I'm honored to have one of Ghanaian journalists who work with Star FM and host of Morning Show, Francis Abban. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Emmanuel. Glad to be here.
How are you doing, sir?
I am doing very well. How are you doing as well?
Fine.
Happy New Year.
Many happy returns to you. Before we start, let's get to know you.
Okay. What do you want to know?
Anything.
Anything at all?
Anything.
So I'm Francis Abban. I'm a broadcast journalist. I've been doing this for the past 13 years. Started in 2007, and it's been a very interesting journey thus far. My passion is to have the power of media help to change our country in a very positive manner. I come from a very humble home. My father, who's passed, was a fire officer. My mother is a soil scientist. I have 3 siblings. I had 4. I lost my sister was directly after, about 10 years ago. But I have 2 wonderful sisters. I am married. And yeah, basically that's about it. I do radio, I do television. I love to follow the things that I'm happy about, things about nation building. I love to read. I love to listen, even though I talk for a living. I love to listen more than talk, because in that I get a lot more knowledge and a lot more insights to grow.
Now let's come to your education. Where did you school?
Okay. As in from nursery all the way through?
From GSS to primary.
Okay, so I did a bit of primary and junior high at Green International School in Takrady. Then from there I moved to Accra Academy. From Accra Academy I went to the Ghanaian Institute of Journalism. First did a diploma, and then I did my service there as a teaching assistant.
You did diploma 2 years?
Diploma 2 years.
Okay, before.
Did my 1-year teaching assistant job there at GIG. Continued my top up, and then afterwards I returned just recently to go do my masters as well.
Wow.
So basically that's it.
You started your career at Sky FM.
Sky Power FM.
Sorry, Sky Power FM.
Yeah.
As a student of journalism. What were the experiences and challenges involved since you became your student, Ghana Institute of Journalism?
Okay. A bit of small correction. When I started this media journey, I wasn't a student journalist.
Okay.
I started as someone who finished school, was home, and was trying to figure out what to do. Initially, my plan was to pursue law, but at the time, the financial situation did not permit me to pursue that path. And so it took a couple of years before I decided to go after my long-held dream of doing journalism. At the time, I thought the law came first, but it turned out that God had other plans for me. So I wrote applications to about 7 radio stations in Takrady, writing quite honestly in my letter that I'm a senior high school leaver. I have no experience in media, but I've got a passion and the will to learn. And if only the company owner will give me a chance, I'll prove to the person that I can do it. Now, out of the 7, I didn't get a response from 6. The 7th one, I met somebody who works there, told them about it. He decided to put in a word for me. I went to the reception, met the owner, and he told me blank that Francis, you don't have experience, but I'll give you a chance to come and intern with us.
How did you feel when the boss told you you weren't having experience?
I mean, it was for me. I didn't look at the other side of saying there was no experience. What was heartwarming for me was when he said, "You may not have experience, but I'll give you a chance based on your will to come forward and ask to do this, and the fact that I told you that I can't pay you, but you decided you do the job." So he gave me a chance.
Okay.
And frankly, at that time, my focus was not money. My focus was to understand how the job works, appreciate it from the inside, and see what is real and what is not. Because before going in, there's a lot you hear and a lot you read as well about the media journey, the media career, and what it entails. So I got a chance. Mr. Wilson Arthur gave me a chance to come in and do some work. I started out with people who are very, known household names in the media space. On top of my head, I can remember I worked with Shirley Irama Ferguson, with Sarah Zigaf Johnson, with Ebenezer Fini Daze. I worked with Julius Caesar Amadem, who's now the man who runs the news and current affairs at Ultimate FM.
Okay.
Also, I did some work with Christian Beidu. Christian Beidu is one of the most outstanding journalists in the Western region. And he was the one that I closely understudied. It was because his strength was in reporting, rural reporting. So on weekends, on Fridays, I'll go with him to where he lives, Asokwe Saman. We'll go to villages in the Mpoho area. We'll go follow not your regular stories, in understanding how things work, from communities with no light to access to food, access to water, amenities. We'll come back, put together stories. And it was a great learning curve for me, because for him, he's one of those people who's crazy about the job and not too much about the spotlight. So I learned the rubrics of news gathering, news reporting, news writing, angling stories, and also having a vision for what you do. So it was a great time for me there. After about a little over a year, I decided, okay, I've got some good experience, so I want to go get the classroom learning paper, what you call the qualification to hold myself as a journalist. So I applied to the Ghanaian Institute of Journalism. My intent was to do a quick 2-year, come back and work, and then later go and top up. My intent was not to do 4 years of a degree. Again, it had something to do with the economic realities at the time. So I opted to do the 2-year diploma. I went in, did the 2 years, and I realized very quickly in class that a lot of the things that were being taught I had done practically on the ground. So it was quite an easy ride for me for the 2 years of the diploma. When I was done, my intent was to join a media house here in Accra, but I also realized that it was better for me to do a bit of stringing and reporting for Sky Power FM, which I was doing throughout my 2 years at GIJ. On vacations I would go. If there are things that I think are newsworthy, I will bounce it off the editors and see what we get. In fact, when I went in at the time, Kwaku Timing at the point was news editor for Sky Power FM. He's now with our business team here at GH1 Television. So it was a very interesting start time for me. And after the diploma, the lecturers took to me, liked how I worked, how enthusiastic I was about my career, and I applied to do my national service as a teaching assistant. So I did that. Then afterwards, I was given the opportunity to do my top up almost immediately. But just at that time, I said, okay, I'll do the top up, but I want to get to work here in Accra. So I met somebody in fact, 2 people, Michael Oteje of TV3, and I told him that I wanted to do media work here in Accra. He asked me what I had done before. I told him, showed him some of the works I had done. He was impressed. He said he would get back to me. That time I started my, I was still doing my TA work there at GIJ. So once I told him, he was more than happy to help. Just when I was about finishing my service, he got back to me and said, well, there's an opening for a sports journalist at Joy FM. So I want to go and try my hands and see if I can do it. Am I interested? I said yes. So I went, prepared, went in there, sat down, and Scranton, Elvis Kwashi, and then Tina Saki were those on the panel, asking me tons of questions. And after about 15 minutes, the panel said, well, Francis, you speak well. You understand what this job is about, but we're not sure sports journalism is for you. We are sure that you can do more than sports journalism. So we'll put you in a newsroom and see how things go. So I went home. A week later, I fell sick. I was unwell. And during that time, they had reached out to me to come to work. I was unavailable. So after a week when I recovered and I got access to my phone, I realized that I missed a lot of calls. So I called back and they said, young man, you came to us for an interview and then you disappeared. We didn't see you again. We called you and didn't get through. I said, well, I was not well. I said, okay, no problem. So show up the next Monday. I showed up. And this was in January of 2012. January of 2012. Yeah. So I started out on probation, and then after about 6 months I was confirmed to work with Joy. Yeah, so that was my journey thus far. I worked there for 5 years. I left in December 2016, and then I joined EIB. I joined to primarily work as a deputy editor at GH1 Television, and also anchor the primetime news in the evening. That was really the package that I was coming for. Then a month later, Robert resigned as morning shows for Star FM. I was called up and I was asked, do I want to do it? I said, yes, I can do it, I will do it. And then I've been here ever since. So that's my story in summary.
Do you have the conviction of fulfilling your dream, becoming a media person?
I am already a media person, and I can say that in terms of what my vision is for this career, I'm almost halfway through. So it's more about accentuating my vision. 2
nominations at the annual RTP Awards. Were you motivated to do more?
I'll tell you this. Awards confirm what we know. What you know being that we're doing something right. Awards don't define what I want to do. So what gives me joy is when we come in the morning, we talk about an issue, we get a solution to the problem, or conversations lead to actions taken on the work that we do. Awards are just recognition that what you're doing is wonderful and we love it. They don't validate me. I know who I am, I know what I stand for, I know my value, and I see the impact of my work. But awards only confirm that you're doing well, keep doing what you're doing, and do better. So for me, it's not the catalyst that gives me new energy, it's a wave of confirmation that I'm getting something done right, and I can only do better.
You could have opted for other profession, but having a profession for journalism, why do you choose that profession?
Okay, 2 things: passion and a bigger thirst to see our nation be better. I've realized that there are 3 ways by which every country develops: the hard work of citizens, the decisions of politicians, and the scrutiny and guidance through the power of the media. So I chose to take one leg, which is to be in a position to reflect the realities of society through media and help to possibly impact the proper growth and development of our country. So that's the path I choose.
But have you regretted choosing that?
I have no regrets.
No regrets.
I have no regrets whatsoever. I think, in fact, if I'll be honest with you, I feel privileged in making this choice. It may have been a choice that was premised on a very interesting journey, but the fruits, the experience, the learning, the benefits have proven that your gifts that God gives you determines what you become. And my journey is one that I'm very proud of. I look forward to bigger and better days. I look forward to my work helping to improve the quality of our country.
Do you have any upcoming projects you want to share?
For now, no. But what I would say is that for Morning Starr this year 2021, we will do things a little differently. Listeners can expect a lot more depth, a lot more incisive analysis, a lot more interaction, and a push towards a bigger, beautiful mental revolution.
My last question, do you have any advice to students or volunteering students, journalists?
I would say learn the craft very well, understand why you're doing it, identify the gifts you have that will set you apart in the career of journalism. The art of journalism, I think, can be comparative to law and politics. Now, all three have something in common: research and advocacy. Politicians advocate for societal change. They promise to do better and they vie for positions of power to make those decisions. Law seeks to advocate for the rights of persons, for the respect of people's liberties and rights, and also compel people to be responsible for their actions. Media does two things: tell stories, analyze societal issues, and advocate for societal change. Now, as I've explained, you can't do these things without appreciating the place of research, the power of strong advocacy, and also the need to look towards societal change. So, for young student journalists who are coming up, my advice is learn the craft, identify your gifts, and pursue excellence in everything that you do.
Thank you for having us, Mr. Francis Abban, on Inspirational Chat.
Thank you.
Viewers, this is where we like to end the show, and I hope you learned something and inspired. Catch us same time next week, and remember to subscribe to my YouTube channel, Doncos TV, and also log on to my website www.doncosblog.com. Special thanks to my team, Miss Emalendate, Nanadra Yeboah Eje, and Kemi Boatin. See you next time. Bye bye.